Okay, to get started on this job, one of the first things that I like to do is disconnect my negative battery terminal. Set this aside so it's making no contact with the battery. Next, we're going to locate the blower motor. It's located underneath the passenger side dash. To start accessing this or removing it, we're going to get inside the glove box. To get this out of here, the first thing we want to do is pull out these push clips right there. Pull out this outer portion. Once that's out of there, we can pop this off. Do the same to the other one. Continue on by removing your 4 screws that hold this plastic in. Same on the other side. Grab onto this, roll it out of there, set this aside. With the glove box out of the way, we have a nice clear view of our computer here. Let's go ahead and squeeze in on this blue tab right there and we'll draw this away. Do the same to the other one as well. Inspect your electrical connectors. If you see any funny colors, it's corrosion and it needs to be dealt with. That looks good, set it aside. Once those are disconnected, there's going to be 2 clips. There's one right here, one a little bit further back. To remove these, we're just going to reach underneath here, we'll grab it and then pull it like this and it should pop away. There's one. Do the same to the other. Now we can carefully grab onto this. Set it aside. Now we need to get this tray out of the way. You're going to find 3 mounting screws. There's one here, one in that hole on the far side there, and then if you were to come inside this area right there, you'll be able to find another one that comes through from the rear towards the front of the vehicle. Now that I loosened up this front one and removed the other 2, I can carefully lift this up and we'll get it out of here. Let's continue on by removing these 2 wires. Pay attention to where they are. The purple one's closer to the driver's side, and the black one, the ground, is over towards the passenger side. Let's just go ahead and grab onto that. I'm going to give it a gentle wiggle. Inspect it. Set it aside. Do the same to the other. Now we can grab onto this cover. I'm going to gently lift it up. We want to make sure that it does not get caught on this bolt right here, but after we lift this up, I'm going to reach underneath the dash and I'll start drawing this down. Okay. Set this aside. Back up inside here. Let's go ahead and remove this hose. Next, we're going to start removing all of our mounting bolts. You can see this one right here, going down that way. And then, of course, it circles around down towards the bottom and back around up towards the top. Go ahead and remove them all. All right. I've got this bolt out of here. Something that I wanted to show you is on the opposite side of this piton right there. One of our mounting bolts actually has a ground terminal on it. We want to make sure when we put our blower motor back in, that ground terminal gets replaced into the same spot and it's nice and clean. All right, so I removed this bolt right here. I have 1 bolt left. I'm going to leave that in there to hold the blower motor still for me. The next thing I want to do is remove all of these screws that come down along the lower aspect of the plastic part of the dash. Now let's go ahead and grab onto this trim panel right here from underneath the dash. I'm going to gently pull it towards me. At this point, we have access to this nut right here, and then right above it is another bolt. Remove the pair. Now we're going to make our way to the top of the dash. I'm going to carefully come underneath this with a plastic trim tool. I'm going to gently lift up, and then underneath this area, there's going to be a tab that I'm going to have to push. I'll just push this side so you can see. Just went like that, and it releases. There's going to be one on the other side. For ours, it's broken. Remove this, set it aside. Now we're going to remove this screw. Okay, so now I'm going to make my way back underneath the dash here. I want to grab onto this area. I'm going to pull it towards the center of the vehicle, and then I'm going to draw this towards me. At this point, we can gently lift up on the dash a little bit, and that's going to give us the access we need to be able to remove that blower motor. Remove that last bolt. Grab onto this. Lift up on the dash. Remove your blower motor. Okay, so now over at the bench, I want to continue on to removing this. That way there, I can install it onto my brand new blower motor assembly. In the center, you're going to find a mounting nut. Just go ahead and hold that cage still so it can't spin. remove the nut. With that out of the way, I'm going to gently lift up on this, wiggle it a little bit, and I should be able to slide the shaft right out of it. You might need to pry. If you're having a hard time prying this off of here, you can just take that nut, start it onto the stud a little bit here, and now I'm just going to want to hold this up. I'm going to be careful because I'm going to bonk right in the center right here with a hammer, try to break it free, so this might want to fall down and could potentially hurt me from underneath. There it is, friends. Slide this off of here. We're going to be reusing it. Let's remove this center nut here and transfer this over. Now we can take our cage. If you want to, you can go ahead and clean this down, get out any of the debris that might be inside these fins. I'm not super worried about it personally. I'm going to line up the shaft, slide it down on there, fits in nice. Let's install our brand new nut. Snug it up. Let's get back over to the vehicle. While you have that out of there, just go ahead and take a peek inside here. Make sure that you don't have any debris or leaves or anything the like. You can try to wipe it out with a rag and just ensure that it's nice and clean. Aside from that, this area along here, just try to make sure you have any debris off of that as well. We want to try to make the best seal as possible. Now, when we go to install this, we want to make sure that we have this wire facing up. This is also the area where that little rubber tube was going to lead from, and we remember that was kind of up as well. That makes it easier to try to remember how it goes. Just going to lift up on this dash. We'll gently slide this in. Pay attention to your alignment tabs. We want to slide this in so it lines up with each of the tabs, and then we're going to start in all of our mounting bolts. When you're putting these in, make sure you put your ground terminal exactly back where you got it from. Once they're all started, go ahead and snug up all of your bolts. Okay. Slide the dash back into position and start bolting it back in. Okay, that one's nice and tight. Now let's do this side one. Okay. All right, let's get this trim panel line back up. Press it in. Make sure it's secure. Let's get this in here. Now we can get our speaker cover back on here. We've got our forward little hooky-doos. Those are going to slide into these areas right along here. And then you have your push clamps that go right there. They fall into these two rearward holes. Line up the forward areas. Gently press it in. Let's move along to putting in all these lower screws right here. Take the screw that looks different. That one's going to screw into this, except on the other side of the dash right here. Just line that up. Once they're started, snug them up. Now we can get our hose on here. We want to take this area and put it down into the blower motor. That's so it's nice and situated. Once you feel as though you have it in, just give it a little twist to make sure it's completely in there. And we're going to take the other end and slide it over the box. Now let's put on our blower motor insulator. I'm going to do this from underneath the dash. Bring it right up straight through here. Okay, I've got this up in here. Just going to put the flap over that end right there. Now let's get our wiring on here. I'm just going to take the purple. I'm going to put that closest to the driver's side. All right, I get the purple one on there. Give it a nice wiggle. Do the same to the black. All right, we've got both those wires in. The next thing we want to do is make sure that you have this bolt right here started in, the one that's above the purple wire, and then the one that's on the other side of the black wire. Both these two bolts can be started in, and then we can grab our plate for the computer. Now we can grab this plate, and we're going to line this area and this area where my fingers are up with those two bolts. Now let's put in our two upper bolts as well. Start both of these in. Once all the bolts are started, we can snug them up. Now it's time to get our computer back in there. You're going to notice that you have your two tabs along the side of it. Those need to press into the areas on the tray for it. Go ahead and slide it right in, press those in there, and then we'll grab our clips. All right. Once you have it pressed into where it belongs, it should not want to slip forward and backward. This one feels good. I'll grab my clips. We're just going to take it just like this. We're going to slide this up and into the computer, and then we'll bring this end down underneath. Should go up and under there. Clip that in, give it a wiggle, make sure it's secure. Do the same to the other. That's nice and secure. Now let's move along to our wiring. You're going to have two connectors, a red and a blue. Go ahead and connect the blue to the blue and the red to the red. Just double check them, make sure they're completely secured. Now we can install our glove box. We've got the area that the light's supposed to line up with. Just going to slide it on the bottom first, roll it in. Line up all 4 of your bolt holes. Start them all in, snug them up. That one's snug. Let's do the same to all the rest. Those are all tight. Let's continue on to putting on our straps here. For this, you just want to push the outward portion in first and then press in the center. Make sure it's locked in. Do the same on the other side. Let's get our negative battery terminal back on here. Make sure it's nice and snug. Your key in the on position and test your blower motor in all speeds.